Welcome back, everyone. We have another show. We have a lot of great people lined up to ask some great questions. And also, if you're on social media, definitely ask questions as well. Anything that I'm going to say in this show is not intended to bypass your medical doctor and cure you. It's just going to give you information for things that you can research yourself.
Well,
All right, Steve.
That's fantastic.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. So we've got a great lineup both in our green room, and we'll have them all on the air soon. And then why don't we kick it off with something from our social media folks? So Sonal from YouTube, and this is an interesting question. Are fermented foods, all of them, good for you? And do they act like probiotics?
Yeah, you also have the difference between pickled, which is a kind of a version of fermentation, but then you have actual fermentation like sauerkraut, things like that, because that's a little bit different. But yeah, excuse me, kimchi, for example, but it's a process where you're enhancing the product. You're adding, releasing different extra phytonutrients. You're getting rid of anti-nutrients, and you're making it easier to digest, and you're generating usually lactic acid, which actually helps protect the good bacteria and kill off the bad bacteria. And there's a lot of good microbes in fermented foods, especially sauerkraut, that can survive your stomach. So even sauerkraut has, on an average, probiotic has like 100 times more concentrated probiotic effect than regular probiotics. So I don't see any downside to fermentation. In fact, it's one of the best foods that you can eat.
Wow. Well, so now it looks like you're on the right track. So keep chowing down and get yourself some sauerkraut and live happily ever after. Let's see. Esther from YouTube. Can you eat dairy on the keto diet if you have acne? That's sort of an unusual combination to make that question. What do you say, Doc?
Well, you can if you want more acne, but these dairy products, unfortunately, they do have hormones in them, and that can aggravate the sebaceous gland, which is going to create more acne. So one thing that I would, you might want to test out if you do some periodic dairy. So do some good grass-fed organic cheese from Europe that's grown in a cave that comes from the Swiss Alps. Now that would be some good cheese. But typically I would avoid like American cheese, which is not even a cheese. It's a cheese product because it doesn't really have over 51% actual cheese.
Goodness. All right, Dr. Berg, why don't we're going to go to a nice gentleman from Rangoon, but first let's kick off with our first quiz question. Can you see that, Doc?
Yes. What plant has been rated as the top cancer killer? That's the first question. Let's see what you guys say about that.
All right, chew on that. And while they are figuring out that, we're going to go to, he's got a really interesting name, but he goes by Mark for us English-speaking folks. Say your name. I love it, Mark.
Jojo. My name is Jojo.
Joe. Okay. So anyway, you're on with Dr. Berg, and thanks for staying up late in Rangoon to ask your question.
Good morning, Dr. Berg.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm glad to meet you. Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for the Keto and Intermittent Fasting course, which is so valuable. I completed the course on November 23rd. I got the certificate.
Great. Congratulations.
Thank you. In Burma, in my country, most of people have insulin resistance. So they do not know about that. They do not know how to care about it. And they only just focus on weight loss. They don't know how to healthy correctly as well. So I'm preparing the webinar in my local language to educate the people.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm before I'm doing keto, I think back in 2018, I drink a lot of commercial milk, yogurt with jaggery. I did regularly my medical checkup. So doctor found out I have high cholesterol. My LDL is 153 milligrams per deciliter, triglyceride around 1 to 2. So he wants to me put on statin. But luckily, I just learned about statin from the YouTube. So I said, thank you, doctor. I don't want to take it. I want to do it a healthy diet and exercise. Doctor said, we'll see in next 6 months. And also learn about cholesterol from your YouTube as well. So I immediately cut out the sugar, milk, yogurt, jaggery, and bread also. So I tested cholesterol every 6 months. My LDL and triglycerides are going down gradually. After a year, my LDL is 132 with normal HDL 48 and triglyceride 81. So is that normal, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds pretty normal to me. And even if it was a little higher, what I would do is I would have an opportunity to educate your medical doctor by bringing in, if you could, unless he can do it or she can do it, a advanced lipid profile. So you can expand their awareness on the deeper tests with cholesterol and the LDL and the particle size, and because they're not usually aware of that, the small dense particle size versus the large buoyant, which then can be more pathogenic, unfortunately. So I think you're in good shape right now, and think about it, as you are in keto, you're mobilizing a lot of fat from the fat cells, and I think the only problem that some people have is especially if they're concerned, is if the maybe high amounts of triglyceride show up after keto, in which case all that means is that your liver is probably fatty still and you need more bile salts. So you take the bile salts, gallbladder formula support type thing, and that will help you break down the cholesterol. Okay, good, because the majority of extra cholesterol is dealt with by the gallbladder and the bile. So that's it. It's so many people go, oh my gosh, my cholesterol. Yeah, it's because your liver is been neglected. So you got to strengthen that but over time, like you've done this a year, you'll see things fall into place real nicely. But it's all about really understanding the whole picture, not just focus on this one marker, cholesterol.
Yeah.
All right. Congratulations. And thank you for that input.
Yeah. Yes, one thing is, at that time, I was not doing keto correctly. So now I decided I do definitely need to go on a healthy keto with intermittent fasting. So now I'm doing healthy keto with 20 hours fasting and 24 hours every 1 month. So I'm doing very great.
That's fantastic.
And feeling well. But I have too much weight loss. So I'm in 3 months. So I'm lost 23 pounds from 132.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, what kind of specific the fats do I need to more consume, and how many grams per meal?
I would consume not the unsaturated fats necessarily. Try to include mostly fats from maybe more protein, and maybe you have some dairy, some ghee, some coconut, avocado fats, some nut fats. That's what I would focus on, because if you're trying to stop the weight loss, you want to increase more fat, and so that way your body will go after that as fuel and not your own fat. All right. Well, thanks for that quick question.
Yeah,
I'm
thank you, Mark,
I'm
for
joking around, but
and thanks
that's
for
great.
representing us so well in Rangoon. What an exotic destination that is. Okay, so Dr. Berg, we have an answer to our first question. Quiz number 1, 35. Oh, first of all, let's read it again so we can brief people on it. And the question asks, which plant has been rated as the top cancer killer? And our survey says broccoli sprouts. 30% say mushrooms, 30% say turmeric, and 5% say garlic. Are we onto something, Doc?
We are in something. Garlic is the answer to that. There's a fantastic kind of a textbook I'm reading right now, which is on modern phytomedicine, which is interesting because it's written by a bunch of scientists who study plants as medicine in different parts of the world, not America, of course. And they found some fascinating research on garlic, which I'm going to do a video on that, believe it or not, Steve, it's not even in the news yet. Can you believe that? They don't even, if you do a search on Google, you won't find this data, which is so powerful. Even the, well, I'm not going to give it away because that's the last question, but all right, I'll just stop right there.
All right, well, that leaves everyone in suspense, which is a good thing on our show. In the meantime, let's say good morning to all our viewers in the UK, Canada, Palestine, Taiwan, Belgium, Denmark, Nigeria, United Arab Emirates, India, Italy, the Netherlands, Mexico, France, Germany, Japan, Trinidad, Tobago, Cameroon, Pakistan, Sweden, Switzerland, South Africa, Egypt, Israel, Norway, Greece, Puerto Rico, Ireland, Hong Kong, Peru, and of course in Burma, our friend there from Rangoon, and then all across the United States, which is well represented in the rest of our folks jammed in the green room, which we will get to. Now let's see. Okay. Saman from Facebook, how can I stop hair loss on the keto diet?
Well, if it's specific to keto, the most common reason for that is that you're not consuming enough protein. So you want to beef up the protein, no pun intended. There's some other reasons too. It could be you need more B vitamins or trace minerals. So that would be the 3 reasons of why you may have some hair loss. But generally speaking, most hair loss occurs because of a problem with testosterone turning into a powerful form of testosterone. And so I'm going to be releasing a video probably either tomorrow or the next day on that topic. Stay tuned.
All right, that's fantastic. Let's see here. Sarah from YouTube, I'm on keto, exercising regularly, but my weight is the same, but my body measurements are decreasing. Wants to know why that is. Well, why ever it is, that sounds like a good deal.
So the goal is to get healthy, right? It's the goal to get healthy first, then lose weight. Weight loss is one of the factors. And a lot of times it's not the first factor that happens simply because you might not be as healthy initially when you start this. So especially if you have a history of insulin resistance, which is behind a slow metabolism. So that takes some time to fix. And so if you're focused on the weight loss and you don't lose, you might think it's not working when in fact it is working. So the fact that you're shrinking tells me that you are getting leaner. You're probably repairing some of the muscle that was atrophied, which is a little heavier per weight. And so that's why you're shrinking. And you are losing some fat too, but you're just heavier. And so the point is that I think the best indicator to know that it's working would be your appetite. Does the appetite go away? If it does, then you know you're on the right path, you're doing the right thing. It's just a matter of time before the weight loss will happen.
Very exciting. Let's kick off with the next question. Doc, there you go.
All right. What is the most important out of all the vitamins for stopping dementia? Okay, I'm talking about the early signs of dementia. I'm going to do a video on that, which is going to be interesting. But the earliest signs of dementia, what would be the first vitamin or the most important vitamin to prevent and even reverse that?
Well, what a big question that is. You know, historically, right, we all got eaten by a bear by 35 or died of the plague or something. Now we're all living longer, which I'm grateful for. I'm getting up there. And what an important question, because that is becoming more prevalent as we don't die so early. So what a great question to put out there, and I can't wait to hear the answer. In the meantime, why don't we go back to our green room, and I'm going to select Wayne from Tucson, Arizona. He's got a question for you. Wayne, you're on with Dr. Berg.
Well, great. Good morning, Dr. Berg. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
I'm assuming you guys can hear me. Listen, Dr. Berg, appreciate everything you do. My question today is about sleep. I started keto about 2 years ago, intermittent fasting and keto. I have always been plagued with not sleeping, and you've been really hammering on how we should be sleeping 8 or 9 hours, which that's a nice goal. But I've been taking your supplements, and try as I might, I can't get any more than 7 hours of sleep. And I wondered if perhaps my eating schedule may impact that. Currently, I'll give you briefly my schedule. I go to bed probably about 7 in the evening. No matter what I do, I can't sleep past 2 in the morning. When I wake up, I'm pretty refreshed and ready to go. I eat one meal at like 7 in the morning, and then I eat my last meal of the day at 11 in the morning. So 7 and 11, and I don't eat at all. And I'm wondering if I'm just not so eager to get up, have my 8 ounces of coffee, and start my clock till I can eat again. Is that partly why I can't sleep?
Well, you have a different pattern there, which normally I think it'd be fine, but it'd be worth a test because you're going to bed at 7 p.m., correct?
Correct.
So since the sleep is all about parasympathetic, that's when you kick in the autonomic nervous system, the parasympathetic. If we were to, they call it rest and digest, right? Both of those things. You might have better digestion. I'm going to just mute some people who are talking here. Okay. You might have better digestion if you push your eating pattern further towards the evening. So that's worth a test for sure. But, do you feel tired during the day at all?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
All day long, I feel pretty tired.
Okay. Are you taking vitamin D?
I am.
Okay. Have you ever taken it right before bed?
Yeah, I take the supplements that I got from you as well as vitamin D right before bed. And yeah, so that's
Okay.
when I take it.
Okay. So I would shift your eating a little bit forward and see if that doesn't handle it. But then the other thing is that do you have a history of having any really bad infection early on in your life, like Epstein-Barr virus or mono or anything like that just wiped you out?
No, I believe I had mono in college, but I don't remember it. I mean, I remember being diagnosed, but I don't remember any impact or whatsoever. But no, I don't think I've had anything like that.
Okay. Have you had fatigue for many, many years?
Yeah, so basically I was an endurance athlete from the time I was 28 to, well, maybe 48. So, I mean, I trained and ran marathons, so I felt like I was always fatigued, so I never really worried about it. But I pretty much gave up marathoning 10 years ago. And I it's hard to judge, but I would say that I always seem to be pretty tired.
Are you exercising now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. There's two things that I would recommend after you try this first thing, and that would be to try to do an exercise that's more of a physical exhaustion, so you really get tired, because you're an athlete and you've stretched your mitochondria so big that you probably have a capacity for energy, and so that doesn't necessarily let you get that full sleep cycle because your body has been so trained in the past, and you're not doing the same training anymore. So you might have to switch it up and do a different training that you can exhaust those mitochondria so you can sleep longer. That's one thing I would definitely try. And then the other thing is that this is a situation where if you've tried all the normal things, then I would probably just try melatonin before bed, 3 milligrams, maybe 6. And for some people, not everyone, that seems to be enough to give them a couple extra hours of sleep where they can now have energy during the day. That's what I would try right now.
All right. So just move my eating a little bit, instead of 7 in the morning, 11 in the morning, maybe switch it till I'm finishing mid-afternoon or whatever.
Yep.
Try that. And then, all right. Well, I appreciate it, doctor. I'm willing to try anything because, as you know, sleep's important.
Absolutely.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's great, Wayne. Best of luck. We'd love to hear back from you and see how you did on that plan. So let's go to our answer to the second quiz question. The most important vitamin for stopping dementia is, and the audience, 40% at least, say it is vitamin D. 22% say it's vitamin B or AB complex like benfotiamine. 20% say vitamin K, and 18% say magnesium or DHA. Boy, that's a mouthful.
Okay, so the answer is, geez, what was that answer? I'm just kidding around. It's vitamin B1, thiamine. Thiamine is the key vitamin because the part of the brain that's involved in dementia it's called the hippocampus, and it shrinks, and so the number one cause of that would be a thiamine deficiency, and of course, alcohol is one cause of a B1 deficiency. But the other thing is, and they don't talk about this, is being in a high carb diet, even in your past. More sugar, the more requirement for B1 you need, to the point where, if you're doing high carb diet, you're going to deplete that B1 and you're more likely to get dementia, which I'm going to release a video on as well. And I'm telling you, it can be reversed if you catch it early enough. In this video that I will release, I'm going to talk about the first symptoms of dementia that rarely does anyone relate to dementia. It's like not even necessarily connected, you wouldn't think, but it's a very important video and to understand. If you could remember to watch it.
Come on, guys. Get on drberg.com and learn about all this stuff. Speaking of B1 and other B vitamins, mangan from YouTube, are vitamins B1, B6, and B12 beneficial for boosting the nervous system?
Yes, all the B vitamins are essential for boosting a nervous system. In fact, B1 probably handles nearly every case that I know of neuritis, inflammation of the nerve. It's just one of the like a sure thing that if you give someone that, they tend to get better really quick. And other types of nerve problems like neuropathies and tingling in the fingers and the hands. So it's great for the nerves and it's good for the brain. But definitely the B vitamins are key with the nerve.
All right. Well, hang on just a second, Doc. I'm going to mute out some of our guests. There we go. And the next question from YouTube is, let's see, I just lost it. Well, to summarize, his question was, his gut is reacting to certain vegetables and so on. It aggravates his IBS. So what can he eat that might overcome that and still remain on keto?
Now, if you're doing a lot of greens and salads and your gut is just being tore up, chances are you probably have a leaky gut or you have some type of inflammation, or you might not be able to tolerate those greens, in which case you might want to do the carnivore for a couple months to heal the gut, just because those people can't do it. But I always recommend starting out to see if you can digest those greens because of the benefits. Most people can, but if you get bloating, then you might have that issue. So you want to avoid that.
Wow. And by the way, that I found it was Eddie from Facebook, and he was eating raw vegetables. So I don't know if that makes any difference. Would cooking them, say, help?
Yes, it's going to be easier to digest, and also fermenting them and having steamed or fermented vegetables, that might be a better option for that person.
Wonderful. Okay, here we go. Julio from YouTube. Do you recommend the keto diet for a very thin breast cancer patient?
Well, Yes. If you're, the thing is though, if you have cancer presently, unfortunately, ketones can feed the cancer. I recently did a video on cancer. You should watch that because I gave you a little mini protocol based on the research so far that we have. There's conflicting information out there, and that's probably because certain cancers, especially of the brain, don't do well, don't survive the ketogenic diet. So in which case you need to do the ketogenic diet. But the problem is some of the membranes for the cancer cells are fed by ketones. So what are you going to do? Watch that video and find out. So, but I would definitely tell you to start fasting immediately. Fasting is the most important thing for cancer. If you have cancer or want to prevent cancer, I mean, if you had anything to do, if you could do anything for cancer, if you had cancer right now, fasting would be the most important. And I would recommend like intermittent fasting, and then every week you do 48-hour fast, and then every month you do a 7-day fast. That's what I would feel confident in telling you being a very sure thing to help you.
All right. Well, Julio put that question in maybe for his significant other. But anyway, we wish you all the best on that. Why don't we kick off our next quiz question, Doc? And here it is.
Okay. All right. Why use lemon for preventing kidney stones? What does it do to kidney stones? That's the question.
All right. Dig into that, audience. And let's see. Why don't we go to our next guest online, and that's going to be James from good old Lubbock, Texas. I think you had a song written about that, didn't you, James? You're on with Dr. Berg.
I think we've had a couple of songs written about that. Lubbock's a pretty good place. Good morning, Dr. Berg.
Good morning.
First, I want to say that your videos have helped me out immensely. It's probably
great.
about 5 months ago, I was in the ICU for a week with diabetic ketoacidosis. And the weird thing about that is I'm type 2 diabetic, which they told me it's literally like 1 in millions of type 2 that get that. My A1C was 12. My triglycerides were 1,400. I started watching your videos and started doing the keto lifestyle, and I've now dropped my A1C down to 7. My triglycerides are down to 200. I've lost 40 pounds. So
Wow.
I still have a ways to go, but it's a significant improvement.
Yeah.
But it seems like I've hit a wall with my blood sugars. I got down to where my average blood sugars were around 140, which is less than half of what they were, but I can't seem to get them to go lower, closer to that 100 mark. And even when I'm fasting, I mean, like I decided to do a 7-day fast, and I'm on day 3 right now. I woke up this morning, I'm still 140. Now, last night, for the first time, I saw a 120 blood sugar, which was the best blood sugar I've seen in my adult life.
Wow.
But then this morning, I'm right back up to 140 again. So I'm just, kind of wanting to know what I need to do to, get towards that magic number of 100 glucose.
Quick question. When you were in the hospital around that time, did they also give you insulin?
Yes, they had it in my IV drip constantly.
Yeah. The fact that they had to give you insulin back then tells me that even though you're a type 2, I'm echoing here myself. Even though you were a type 2, it's like the pancreas, the cell wasn't working because your sugar was just so high. They had to give you insulin to bypass your own pancreas and bring it down. So when people are a type 2 and the pancreas completely runs out of gas and they don't have any more insulin left, it would be almost a definition of a type 1, wouldn't it? I mean, where you have no function of the cell of the pancreas. It has to do with the actual causation, because type 1 is autoimmune, type 2 is not. So the fact that you were in the hospital and had that complication tells me that you had really, really bad insulin resistance. You probably had damage to your cells of the pancreas. So we know that. The fact that you had a recent great lowering of your blood sugar tells me that you're on the right path. The fact that your blood sugar is high despite fasting tells me that it can't be coming from your carbs. It has to be coming from your body's ability to make glucose. It's called gluconeogenesis. So your liver's making glucose because of the severe insulin resistance you still have. That's really what's happening. So over time, you're gonna see it improve, but it could take a year or even a year and a half. In the meantime, there's a couple things you can do to improve things. Of course, exercise would be good to burn off that sugar on a regular basis. The other thing to do would be to support the liver with milk thistle. That would help you. Berberine is a real good herb too for insulin resistance. And then zinc. Those things I think will give you that leverage that you need. And then just stay real strict to it and just don't give up. And you'll see over time it will come around.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, that's great. I tell you, they're very relaxed down there in Texas, if James is any indicator. That's wonderful. Thanks for coming on with us, James. And let's see, why don't we, speaking of livers, there's a big deal with that, right? Fatty livers and unfortunately cirrhosis and so on. So I hope that's not an acronym for something nasty, but this person from YouTube asks, is oat milk, good for liver problems?
No, because it's going to have some carbs in it, and we don't want to do carbs. So oat milk is too high in carbs. Milk is too high in carbs. But you can drink water. That's pretty low in carbs. That's something that'll be a good thing.
Joy killer.
I am. I'm like the bearer of good news.
My wife, Lori, whenever we're looking for food, and my son and I always joke, she goes, "Oh, wait a minute. Look, we have some pickle juice in here. We've got some ketchup. There's mayonnaise. Look, we've got, there's some crackers. And just, where's the hamburger? Where's the beef? For goodness sakes." But she always insists that we're in good shape. So the quiz question number 3, let's bring that up for everybody. Why use lemon for preventing the gruesome kidney stones? And someone's been studying, because 100% answered that citric acid in lemons breaks down the oxalates in stones. Are they right?
They are right. It not only breaks down the stone, it actually prevents the stone from forming if it's an oxalate stone, which most of the time it is. So they must have watched my lemon video. You would think lemon, like, what is that going to do to your body? But there's quite a few really cool benefits from lemon water. And you can put the lemon from a whole, like just the juice from a whole lemon in your glass once a day, or just take 3 tablespoons and get a good amount of not just vitamin C if it's natural, but the phytonutrients and also the citric acid, which is a great preventer of stones. And there's many other benefits to lemon water that you can watch in my recent video that I just put out.
Wow. Well, congratulations, audience. Just A+ for everybody around the world. Sheila from YouTube, how can I handle recurring UTIs? Those are nasty.
The most important thing, if you have a UTI, is it tells me that your carbs are too high. Now, it could also be some other things, but the most common cause is that you're feeding these microbes with too much sugar it's coming out through the kidney. So go on a low carb, start fasting immediately, and drink some unsweetened cranberry juice with apple cider vinegar. And that will help you a little bit, but the fasting and low carb is the secret.
All right, let's see. Okay. Beth from Facebook wants to know if you would be willing to do a video on the benefits of CBD oil. I don't know where you stand on that, but is that something that you would get behind?
Well, I did a video on it a long time ago, but created a lot of confusion. Here's the problem with that oil is that you have that they might certify that it has no extra chemicals in it that are going to be a problem. So I kind of stayed away from that area because I don't want to start recommending something and then someone all of a sudden finds that it was contaminated with this or that. And Dr. Berg said this, so I pretty much have stayed away from that topic. Some people say, well, is it going to help stress? Is it going to help pain? I said, well, yeah, but there's so many other things that help inflammation, pain, and stress. So, I kind of, that's why I haven't seen a lot of videos on that.
Good deal. Okay, so Mike from YouTube, I know you drink coffee, Dr. Berg. You can't deny that, but you're good. Only 1 cup a day, I understand. But Mike from YouTube, I'm having a hard time cutting back on coffee. Is there a way to curb my appetite for coffee? I believe it's affecting my rate of weight loss.
There's a drink that I'm going to be coming out with hopefully at the end of this month. It's a powder. It's a turmeric latte, and it's sweetened with monk fruit, and it has ashwagandha, and you drink that as your coffee, and it really is a wonderful taste and delicious drink. Very, very comforting, like a comfort food, but it also has ashwagandha that just makes you feel really calm and good. So what I'm doing is I'm drinking my little cup of coffee, and then I'll do one of those, and I will do great. So I would do that. And then the other thing I would do, either right before your coffee or right after, is a green drink, whether it's a wheatgrass juice powder drink or some other drink. That will actually give you some true energy, not some artificial stimulated caffeine energy. But when you have that clean energy, you just feel like, wow, it's very hard to go back to more coffee because the caffeine inhibits something that is normally, it makes you tired. So it's giving you energy by inhibiting something that normally makes you tired at night. So it's kind of a weird way to get energy, but of course we are all addicted, including myself. And but I'm able to do 1 small cup a day, and that seems to be not a problem. But I would start doing some of these other ones. There's other types of alternative coffees as well, with chicory root and things like that.
All right. Well, listen, this is a great question here. I'm dying to know the answer, Doc, and let them have it.
All right. So why does the Middle East have very low rates of cancer despite having the highest consumption of sugar?
That's really interesting. I can't wait to hear the answer to that one. And let's see. In the meantime, Steve from Facebook wants to know if cholesterol medicine promote weight gain. Does that cause you to gain weight?
I'm sure it does. It does a lot of other problems. I mean, it creates a lot of other problems, including a lot of inflammation, loss of muscle, inflammation in your muscles, weakness in the muscle, and also the inability to have the cholesterol there to make cellular membranes, to make hormones, all the sex hormones. Cortisol, which is the main anti-inflammatory, is made from cholesterol. So if you're going to take a statin, you're going to block that mechanism. And there's a lot of bad things connected with that, that the next time someone recommends it, bring up that point. Like, well, don't I need cholesterol? And if they say, no, you don't, it's only a bad thing, then they don't understand cholesterol. It has a lot of positive things. In fact, your body makes 75% of all the cholesterol that's in your body. Your body makes it. So why would it do that if it's so bad?
There you go. Answer that, doctor. Jamie from Facebook. I've been told, speaking to doctors, I've been told by my doctor that extreme or extended fasting could be bad for those with thyroid conditions. And she wants to know your opinion on that.
Well, there's always a way to do it. If you're doing extended long-term fast, get supervised, because you could end up with nutritional deficiencies. The key with the thyroid is that the fasting is not the problem. It's the nutrients. So if you take nutrients while you're fasting and you're getting all your nutrients, you shouldn't have a problem with the thyroid. This is why like a low-calorie diet it's harmful to the thyroid because of the lack of nutrients. But what if you're taking nutrients? That's really where the problem is. It's the nutrients, which I always recommend taking them while you're fasting, and then you're totally fine.
Well, fantastic. Jimmy from France on YouTube wants to know the best foods to break an extended fast. I'd say double cheeseburger, fries, etc. What about you, Doc? What do you say?
If you're doing a long-term fast, you want to break it very slowly. You definitely don't want to do carbs like any sugar, because that can that's a dangerous situation. To have a little bit of food, like maybe I don't know, a little soup, a little half of an egg, a little tiny salad, wait a little bit, have a little bit of nuts, wait a little bit. Don't do what I did, Steve, where, I just said, man, I haven't eaten for a long time. I'm just going to have to just pig out, and started eating more and more and more. And then I got in trouble. So I had way too much food. So from firsthand information, you want to go slow and ease into it, because what's going to happen is you can have a shift in your minerals because of insulin, which I don't want to get into the mechanism, but you can have this shift of minerals that are going in the wrong place and create a problem in your blood. You can end up with a severe deficiency in certain things. So I have done a video on that. So I'd probably watch that, because there's more to it.
All right, that's fantastic. Yeah, I have an issue when I come off a fast. I think I deserve something, so to speak. And that, gets me off my cycle, because I'm used to eating at, 3 or 4 o'clock. And then it does throw me off a little bit. I feel great during a fast, but sometimes coming off, I feel like I'm sort of been wounded, and now I deserve to do something to fix it.
I think you are. I think you're an exception, Steve. I think you do deserve it. You deserve to eat what you want after, because you've been depriving yourself for so long. So you have to, you deserve a reward.
Well, thank you, Dr. Berg. I started tearing up as you told me that, and I think you're absolutely right. Let's see who's right in the cyber world. Let's bring up this question again, and this is fascinating. Why does the Middle East have very low rates of cancer despite consuming tons of sugar? If I said that right in the audience, this is a long-winded answer. 45% of respondents say because of the Middle East's cultural and religious fasting practices. 40% say they consume a lot of anti-cancerous foods like garlic and cumin, if I said that right. And 15% say lack of pesticides in the food that supply that region.
It's Ramadan. It's their fasting. I mean, what's wild is that they consume so much sugar. And as you know, sugar feeds cancer. But the fact that they fast, it just tells you how powerful fasting really is, to be able to lower your rate of cancer despite all that sugar. So it's fascinating, but they have one of the lowest rates of cancer in the entire world. Now, of course, they have the highest rate of like diabetes and obesity, but you just got to pick what disease you want. Which one is going to be a little bit better?
Oh, terrible. All right. Well, let's hear from Adele from Florida. And she is unmuting herself right now and looks very excited to be on with Dr. Berg. Go ahead, Dr.
Good morning, Dr. Berg. It's such a pleasure to be with you again. And thank you, Steve, as well. My question to you, Dr. Berg, is it doesn't matter what I eat, I become bloated. And it's a major concern for me.
Okay. Have you tried carnivore?
No, but I've heard of that.
Okay. The thing is that if you have some pre-existing gut problems deep inside the gut where there's inflammation or past inflammation or whatever, and then you start to consume especially the nuts, fiber, just there's a whole bunch of different foods, you'll just bloat like crazy because your body's reacting to it. So this is one of the reasons why a handful of people will go on carnivore, which you're basically doing. You're not just doing meat. You're doing a seafood, oysters, things like that, some organ meats. You're doing various fatty things, but not like huge amount of protein. But you're doing moderate protein with more fat. It's something that you should probably look into. Try to find out the healthy way to do it and experiment with it, because it could be something that can reestablish your gut. There is a really great source of information that I interviewed this lady from Hungary. And it was on, if you do a search on Dr. Berg and gut permeability, I think it was, or it could have been leaky gut, you'll see this scientist I interview. She has a clinic in Hungary, and she has some great information on how to do this healthily. And she can even consult you and give you the right information. And that way you can not bloat for a period of time so your gut can actually heal, because some of that's inflammation and that can be aggravating things. I just can't remember her name. But yeah, you'll be able to find that video, and then you can search out, because I put a link in the description on how you can contact her.
Thank you so much, Dr. Berg. Be well.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
That's great. And Adele, we hope we hear from you again, because it's, we talk about a lot of things Dr. Berg does, but hearing the anecdotal, reaction to what he does is just great. So we hope you call us back and see if carnivore diet would help you with the issue that you just described. And let's see, Dr. Berg. Beach Fitness, this person calls themselves, from YouTube. I've been fasting for a while. Now I notice I don't get as hungry anymore. I could easily go without eating every other day. Is that affecting my requirements for daily nutrition?
No, the fact that you can go every other day means that your body's burning your own fat. So that's a good thing. I would take supplements on the days that you're not eating to make sure you get all your nutrients. There's so much benefit in eating every other day, especially if you're not hungry. I mean, you'll see health benefits like crazy. So I would go for it, and go by how your body, by your own hunger and your energy, and I wouldn't worry about not eating if you supplement.
Interesting. Albana, I think, from Facebook. Do you recommend chicken meat to a carnivore, or am I restricted to meat from four-legged animals? That kind of gives me the creep to consider how many legs they have before I eat them.
Well, they have two wings, but so it'd be four appendages. I think, I would definitely do chicken. I would make sure it's there's a huge difference between some really good, chicken that you would get from a farmer that spends time really raising that chicken correctly with the skin on it. What a world of difference. You know that in the store, when you go buy a chicken breast, read the label. It says chicken flavor. They have to add chicken flavoring to make it taste like chicken, because it's just empty. So if it's a healthier version of chicken, then you could do that. Absolutely. But you just want to go low carbohydrate. You want to go low fiber and things like nuts and legumes and things like that. So that's what you want to avoid.
All right. Well, please avoid that, folks. And here's our final question: is a true falser? And there it is.
Okay. True or false? The odor from garlic can kill pathogenic bacteria. So we're not talking about the actual substance. We're talking about just the odor, the little particulates that are floating through the air. Could that actually kill bacteria?
That's interesting. My brother lived in Morgan Hill, California. Just south of there is Gilroy. It is the garlic capital of the world. And when you drive through there, it is an unmistakable fragrance, if you want to call it that. And I don't know if it cured any of my bacteria, but you can sure smell it. So get on that, audience. And
I'm going to release a video on garlic next couple of days. I just did it this morning. And one thing you don't want to do is buy garlic from China, because they chlorinate it. They bleach it to make it look nice and white. And they also, sometimes it's grown in sewage. It's terrible. And pesticides. So get a local grown garlic, or grow it yourself. And then also, people want to know about fermented garlic. Is that good? Like the black garlic? Absolutely. It enhances the effectiveness. Or you can ferment it with honey. Now, if you're going to do this, I'll do one of these, but I won't. I'll just kind of wash off the honey. Oh, there we go. And you soak it, garlic and honey, it ferments, and it gives the garlic, you can actually consume it without any digestive issue, because it's almost like a pre-digested thing, but you get the amazing benefits from garlic, which is almost to the level of equivalent of an antibiotic. It's so powerful for your immune system. I'm going to be talking about that, on what it can kill anthrax, E. coli, MRSA. I mean, like, these are a microorganism that is resistant to antibiotics. Garlic has the capacity to kill it. So, it's been used for, I don't know, 4,000 years. So it's been around for a long time, but it's a great thing to take during the winter months when you might be a little run down, in addition to your vitamin D, unless you can go out and get some sun every day.
That's fantastic. Well, Dr. Berg, we were bragging about our Middle East friends, and there's more reason for them to celebrate beyond cancer. Look at what they get now. They can get your products internationally. Why don't you tell the audience about that?
Yeah, we've finally found a way to get our products in different parts of the world. So if you're from Europe, if you're from the UK, if you're from the Middle East, if you're from Singapore, we have products that you can actually get easily, either through Amazon or the numbers down below, which we will list them.
That's fantastic. And let's see. We have a quick answer in the final question. The true false was the odor from garlic can kill pathogenic bacteria. And by the way, audience, I'm so impressed with you all and Terry's ability to capture the answer so quickly. That was fast. 85% of our respondents say it's true, and 15% say no way.
Yeah, I know. I thought no way, but as I'm studying this, my new interesting book right here, yes, they found that the odor, they actually took graded, now this was done in a Petri dish, okay? So not on humans, but they actually identified these pathogens, viruses, and fungus, okay, being killed within 3 hours after just the odor being around them. I mean, that blows me away. Within 3 hours, this odor. So Steve, as you're chewing on garlic in the winter and are you repelling people around you, you're also repelling microbes. So that's a good thing.
Well, that's a good trade-off. But yeah, my wife says, Steve, did you have Italian last night? The garlic does hang on me. There's no question, but I sure love it. And now that I know that it kills pathogens, I'm just going to ignore everyone's objection to my breath. Okay, so here we go, Doc. Why don't you tell them, speaking of videos, look at the first one, fix your nasty bad breath, and so on. Go ahead and let us know what's going on.
Yeah, so here's some new videos coming up. I just released this one, my insanely painful kidney stone experience. You can watch that. That's released today. 9 home remedies to prevent hair loss and reverse hair loss. That's coming up maybe tomorrow. 7 warning signs that you're eating too much sugar. Okay. And yeah, so there's more as well, but I have some really interesting videos coming up this next week. So definitely stay tuned. I'm only releasing 1 video a day because I'm putting a little bit more time into it. I mean, I'll get up very early and spend minimally 8 hours just kind of organizing my thoughts and then creating that 1 4-minute video. So just realize there's a lot that goes into it. Sometimes it's a lot longer than 8 hours. So anyway, yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, listen, we are so excited to have our final person in the green room. And this is Diane from Buckeye, Arizona. And it took months to book her, but here she is. Diane, you're on with the doctor. Can you hear us, Diane? Go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Okay.
There you are.
I think I got it. Good morning, Dr. Berg.
Good morning.
My question is about food allergies. About 6 months or so ago, I was tested and I'm allergic to eggs. Well, as one of the allergens, but I know keto has a lot of eggs in it, and I am really anxious to start keto. So I am a bit of a rebel, and I thought, well, what would happen if I just went ahead and used eggs in baking, and instead of just consuming them like for breakfast and all. by getting my cortisol and my insulin levels to a healthier state, would the food allergies in time be overcome?
I think they would improve. I think the thing that's going to help your allergies more than anything is the intermittent fasting and the periodic prolonged fasting, because that's going to strengthen your immune system to the point where you can even your stem cells will start to regrow a new immune system. So you have more T cells going on. You have better antibodies. You have less allergies. These food allergies stem from your gut. So as you do fasting and you don't overload the gut too much, you can start to heal from these allergies a lot better. So I think you can also try other types of eggs like duck eggs. That might be another option. The other thing I found with some people is that and I'm sure that you're totally open to this, is to get your own chickens and then have your own really healthy eggs, have them free ranging. And a lot of people don't have allergies to those eggs for some reason. But if you don't want to do that, you can also, in practice, I did this a long time ago. There's an actual technique that, it's an acupressure technique / acupuncture technique. It's called NAET, that I don't do anymore, but one time I did it, and it's great for allergies, and it does work. If you find someone in your area that can practice that, they can help you with that allergy, find someone good. But I remember I was in practice and I had someone all sorts of allergies. One person had a severe allergy to sesame seeds, like almost like anaphylactic shock. And we did the treatment, and then the mother was there with the EpiPen and the whole thing. And I came back probably a half hour later, and this little kid downed the whole bag of sesame seeds and not one reaction. So something you can look into as well.
Would I sabotage my keto if I eat the eggs?
Well, the thing is that, there's some people that have an allergy and they eat something and they don't really have much of a reaction. Maybe a little tiny digestive bloating. So it might not be an issue. You might want to test the waters and see. You might not have anything too severe, versus other people might have a severe reaction. So it really depends on the severity as well.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's great. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Diane.
Good luck with your new program. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, thanks, Diane. Best of luck to you. And again, to all those people that joined us, we hope you'll get back with us and let us know about your various successes or follow-up questions. And Dr. Berg, I think we've done it. So you want to take us out?
I just want to say thank you for everyone. I appreciate your wonderful questions and your attention, and you're watching this long, 1 hour. I appreciate that. Stay tuned for next week, same place, same time, and also these videos that we'll release through the week. Have a great one.